From coast to coast and right here over the airwaves, you're listening to WPSL Talk. Covering WPSL PRO, this is the place for real conversations, engaging interviews and personal perspectives on the topics that matter. Joining you is your host, BarbaraJ.
Hello and welcome to WPSL Talk. I am your host, BarbaraJ. Today on the show, we'll have our first team spotlight interview with Jamie Levoy of the California Storm. Other topics on the show, we'll discuss the new rules of the WPSL. Also, some talk of the teams going to WPSL PRO. And finally, my personal perspective segment. Let's first go over the teams, and then we'll cover the rules before we get to the interview with Jamie Levoy of the California Storm. There are 16 teams, and I'm going to split them up into 6 segments. And let's go with the Texas Trio to start. The Trio is the Lone Star State, where things are bigger, including the ambitions. So Austin Rise FC are 100% women-owned. They play at House Park, which is a historical stadium right in the heart of Austin, and with a built-in fan base. They're doing it purely independent and building a massive grassroots culture in Texas. Next up is AC Houston Sur. They bring massive international flair and have deep community ties. They're focused on developing South Texas talent, and they bring a heavy international development style that is going straight to the pro pyramid. And finally, South Star FC. They're based out of Dallas-Addison area, and they're a pre-established Texas powerhouse. They're already structurally built like a pro squad. Moving up into the mountains, let's look at the Colorado contingent. Altitude and attitude. Northern Colorado Rain FC, they're based in Windsor, and they play at Ticket Socket Park, which holds 6,500 fans. The Rain is bringing big crowds, beautiful backdrop, and major stadium infrastructure to the league. And then there's Indios Denver FC. They're urban, gritty, and fiercely loyal. They are a historic pillar of Denver's soccer community that has spent years bridging the gap between elite youth academies and pro soccer. Indios Denver is a cornerstone club. They're finally getting their well-deserved shot on a pro national stage. Okay, so let's head into the heart of the country. The Heartland and Midwest block is an absolute goldmine of fan support. There's Oklahoma City FC. They're one of the oldest, most stable brands in the entire ecosystem. They have been dominating the amateur landscape for nearly 20 years. They are the definition of institutional knowledge. Sioux Falls City FC, they're up in South Dakota. It's a small market, but they draw massive crowds, routinely packing out Bob Young Field. Expect them to have one of the best atmospheres in the league. And there's the Dakota Fusion FC. They straddle the Minnesota and North Dakota border. This club is pure, true North grit. They bring a hardcore, passionate fan culture from the upper Midwest. And finally, there's FC Wichita. Out in Kansas, they have big venues and big ambitions. They play at the Stryker Soccer Complex with a massive youth academy feeding right into the top. Wichita is sitting on top-tier facilities and has local Kansas soccer talent. Heading down to warmer weather on the South and Atlantic coast. Okay, let's start out with Georgia Impact SC, who's based out in the Atlanta area. They are youth to pro pioneers who are officially the first WPSL Pro club to secure a literal youth academy to professional direct pipeline. They are the blueprint for how to build a team out of your own massive local youth academy. And then there's Soda City FC from Columbia, South Carolina. They've translated a highly successful men's semi-pro brand into a professional women's franchise. Soda City is taking over South Carolina and filling a massive pro women's soccer void in the Southeast. Let's move up to the industrial hotbeds of the Great Lakes and Rust Belt. Cleveland Astra. This is the We'll Build It Ourselves club. Backed by the powerful Cleveland Soccer Group, they pivoted after narrowly missing an NWSL slot to build this pro team with a massive 10,000-seat stadium plan. Cleveland used their NWSL rejection to fuel a massive stadium-backed project with Cleveland Astra. And finally, let's close it out on the East and West Coasts. The Town FC, representing the Bay Area in California, play at St. Mary's Stadium. They are heavily focused on celebrating the unique culture, art, and community of the East Bay. They bring maximum West Coast style, culture, and high IQ soccer to the mix. SoCal WPSL PRO is tapping directly into statistically the most talent-dense women's soccer region on the planet. They are sitting directly on top of the biggest hotbed for women's soccer talent in the world. Real Central New Jersey, our northeast anchor, perfectly bridges the gap between the Philly and New York soccer markets with a beloved community-owned style. They anchor the northeast corridor, sitting right in the hyper-competitive mid-Atlantic market. And finally, the Connecticut Women's Pro Soccer is officially kicking off in the spring of 2028, playing at Dodge Stadium in Norwich. If you've been watching the matches, you might have noticed things looking a little different with the rules of the WPSL. The league is focusing on speeding up the tempo, protecting the players, and bringing absolute discipline back to the game. I have 7 rules to go over, and I'm going to tell you the change and the why. So the first one is the captain's only rule. So in high-tension moments, referees can now trigger a mandatory captain's only zone. If any player other than the team captain approaches or mobs the referee to argue a call, it's an automatic yellow card. The reason why is to end ref mobbing. The second is fast-track cards for delaying restarts. For zero warning, referees are handing out yellow cards for tactical delay tactics. The why is to reward attacking teams. Teams used to intentionally take a smart delay warning to kill a dangerous counterattack. Now they're punishing those cheap stalls on the spot. The third is the 8-second goalkeeper clock. Goalkeepers can only hold a live ball for a maximum of 8 seconds. The why? It's about tempo. This is to kill time wasting and create more exciting active attacking opportunities. The fourth, stop clock substitutions. Teams can now sub players anytime the clock is stopped. The why? It completely eliminates drawn-out substitution delays. The fifth one is smart tech on the pitch. Tronic fitness trackers and GPS bands are now allowed on players' wrists and arms during matches. That is, as long as they are safely padded and taped down. The sixth one, the 3-hour weather window. If lightning or severe weather hits, they extended it 3 full hours to resume the match on the same day. The why? This gives traveling teams a chance to finish the game rather than a cancellation or rescheduling. And finally, number 7, head coach carries the bench cards. So, if anyone on the bench, an assistant coach, trainer, or sub gets a yellow card during the match, it officially counts toward the head coach's seasonal card accumulation total. The why? Sideline discipline. So this gives us less tactical stalling, way more speed, and a lot more accountability. And now I'll play my interview with Jamie Levoy of the California Storm for our first team spotlight, and then I'll play my personal perspective. Today, I'm incredibly honored to welcome a true pillar of Northern California soccer. She has been with the California Storm since 2005, starting as a snack bar volunteer and working her way up to become the club's executive director, coach, and owner. Under her leadership, the Storm has continued its legacy as a championship powerhouse, most recently clinching the 2024 USLW Northern California title. Beyond the trophies, she is a founding investor, owner of the Bay FC, an investor in Benfica in Portugal, and a tireless advocate for providing female athletes with the resources, visibility, and professional standards they deserve. Please welcome the heart and soul of the California Storm, Jamie Levoy. Welcome to the show, Jamie.
Oh, thank you. It's an honor to be here.
So I got to ask you how you first got involved in the Storm. How did you find out? You said you were a snack bar worker, but how did you actually get involved? How did you find out about the Storm?
Yeah, so I was doing a little coaching, and I really wanted to continue to build my coaching career. I had just finished playing soccer at Sacramento State, and I was coaching at a small Christian college. And I had heard that there was this really good team in Sacramento called the California Storm. And so I reached out, I looked them up online and reached out and said, hey, I'd love to be involved, like as an assistant coach or whatever you need. And they wrote me back a few days later and said, well, our coaching staff's set, but, we could use some help in the snack bar. And so I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot, because for me it was not ideal, but I just wanted to get my foot in the door. And then I figured I would show them I was the best snack bar attendant that there ever was and try to work my way up.
Well, you did. You did work your way up. Owner, coach, executive director. Wow. So I'd like to break the topics up into 6 segments, the questions I'm going to ask you. Zanelli spirit is what I'm going to go for this time. So I'm going to ask you some questions on the legacy and the Zanelli spirit. So the Storm was recently named the Jerry Zanelli Outstanding Women's Amateur Club. What does it mean to the organization to carry on Jerry's vision, especially as the winningest team in WPSL history?
It means everything. Jerry was a good friend of mine. I got to know him really well over the years. And he really cared about the women athletes. He cared about everybody involved, was very protective of them. He started, the WPSL because in the California Storm because there was a need for places for women to play. There's national team players. They play in the Olympics and in the World Cup. But back then the W League had folded. So he's like, well, if there's not one, let's create one. And so I loved in that mentality that he had. And people would tell him no all the time. And so but he'd find a way to make it happen regardless. And so I really embraced that from, being with him. One of the last things he said to me when he left me the team before he passed was be assertive. And I really took that to heart. And I've tried to run with it and to carry on the legacy that he started and created for Storm and to honor him.
So you've had legends like Brandy Chastain, Cece, Alex Morgan. How does that alumni legacy influence the culture for the current roster?
It really influences it. When I took over the Storm, by then I'd built a relationship with Cece. She's one of my best friends, and so I said, hey, I'm taking this over. I need to build a board of directors. Will you be part of this? Because you guys are the foundation of what everything Storm is. And she was like, yeah, super supportive. Cece's always been really supportive of everything I'm trying to do for the organization and for women's soccer in the area. And so my next call was to Leslie Osborne. She played on the national team and won the Olympics and World Cup and everything. And so I called Leslie and I said, hey, and I knew she was close with Jerry. Would you mind being a part of the board? I really want to, build this and just really professionalize it for the players. And she was like, oh yeah, absolutely. And so after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to give Brandy a call, and here I am. I'm like fangirling all these amazing players, but I'm trying to keep my cool and not let them know, And so I called Brandy and she was like, well, yeah, let's do this, So she got on board, and so it was amazing how they just totally bought into the vision I had for the organization and wanted to see it continue on and to grow.
Yeah, I was just at the home opener game, and Cece was there.
Yes, yep, she's one of our head coaches. So yeah, and she had her golden boot there too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she had it in her car, and I'm like, come on, bring it out. And so at the very end, for some of the kids and stuff, she was letting them take pictures with it. And
oh, nice.
Yeah, Cece is fantastic.
Yeah,
such a good person.
Yeah, I'm becoming a fan of all those ladies. It's like I was on eBay looking at their cards, their autograph pictures. I'm like, oh my God, they're all in here.
Yep. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yes, it is. I was looking for you too. I didn't see you though.
I don't have a card. I'm not cool
Oh,
enough.
we'll have to get you one.
So, thanks. Yeah, no, I'm happy to, that it's about the players and everything. So
Yes,
I'll
yes.
just support and get their
Yes.
autographs.
So, with 5 WPSL championship trophies, what is the secret sauce that has allowed the Storm to remain elite across almost 3 different decades?
That's a great question. I would definitely say team culture. It's
Mhm.
everything. Playing for each other, creating a positive atmosphere is huge. Where the players know that they can be creative and have fun. And like, if it's not fun, why do it, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah, I definitely think team culture is such a massive piece to any team's success.
Yes, it is. So back to Brandy Chastain. You guys are preparing for the inaugural Brandy Chastain Cup final against Sporting Connecticut. How is the squad's mentality heading into a match named after one of your own club legends?
It's definitely a lot of pressure to win it. So, and then on top of it, we played Sporting Connecticut in the championship game, and we didn't have our best performance then. And so the team kind of has, I wouldn't say a chip on their shoulder, but they're like, okay, we wanted another chance at these guys. So I think it's going to make for a very exciting match.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, and
So,
they're good people over there, and so it's
uh-huh.
going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm looking over at your 2026 schedule, and you have a heavy slate of NorCal matches. Who do you view as your biggest regional rival right now?
Let's see. I would probably say Oakland Soul is a lot of fun for like the USL,
Mhm.
and they always put together a great squad and a good environment. And then WPSL, we used to have one giant division, but they divided it into two. And so now we definitely don't travel as much, but when we did, I would say like La Miranda was always a battle. And Nighthawks, the teams go way back together, so that's always kind of a fun one, the rivalry there. They were also a founding member of the WPSL, so a lot of history between the teams.
Mhm. So I'm going to jump into player development and recruiting. So the Storm has a reputation for being a finishing school for top tier talent. What specific traits do you look for when recruiting players to the Sacramento area?
I look for players that really want to better their game, that are already,
Mhm.
that they're strong players, but they want to go to the next level because, we really take pride in trying to provide resources to help them and connections to help them get to that next tier of their game. So I would say, a lot of it to me is their dedication to the game. Are they training a lot, outside of what they already do? Just are they taking care of their bodies? So it's even stuff that's just not on the field. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It's kind of the whole thing. I'm looking for players that want to go as far as they can. But then,
Yeah.
we also have those players that played college and they've done their pro contract and they're like, hey, you know what? I want to still play in a super competitive environment, and they love the intensity of Storm and the game day atmosphere. And so there's also a place for them as well. So we try to be like a multi-tier place. So even players that are finishing up high school and getting ready for their collegiate seasons, we have a place for players like that as well. So, but just definitely, like I'd say, personality traits is really big. Are they going to add to the team culture? Are they going to be negative and kind of create a negative environment for the rest of the team? That's big. So I just think that there's always a place for somebody with a good attitude and a good work ethic.
So I got a question for you. Can you highlight a
Yeah.
couple of breakout players on the current roster who fans should keep an eye on this summer? I mean, I know there's a lot. Is there any breakout players that you can think of that?
Yeah. Well, I know Dahlia had a great game in our home
Oh my
opener.
God,
She
yes,
had
she
2
did.
goals. Yeah, so phenomenal player. Really excited about her. I mean, we got a bunch, so it could go down the list, but
I know
we
there's a
got
lot.
Riley West back. Yeah, Riley West is back she had a surgery on her calf, so she's coming back late last year, but she's 100% now, and she just looks phenomenal. That's our number 4 in the back. We have Kylie Norkus. She just finished playing pro up in Canada. She was also a center back for us. we just literally picked up Camden Fuller from the airport. She is the number 2 midfielder in the country. She's from TCU. We've got Sadie, who's going to Stanford next year. So I mean, we got so many. I'm excited about all of our players, to be honest.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, they played so well together. I mean, they're so much in control, fast. Oh my gosh, fast, fast, fast. They don't let up.
Yes.
They played the whole game like it's the beginning of the game. I didn't see anybody get tired at all.
No, definitely. And I mean, even when I'd make subs, they're like, "Dang it! Like, I want to keep going," But yeah, no, that I was really happy with the intensity, our speed of play, the combination passing, and no, that we did really well. So I was really happy with that performance.
On our pilot show, we had the fitness major on, and I asked him one of the questions: how does the player play the full 90 minutes? If nobody heard the interview, I advise anybody to listen to the interview. It was a good interview. He went through fitness, nutrition, and injury prevention. So I was trying to get on the soccer player, but yeah, they played great all the 90 minutes.
Yeah,
but yes, let's go to the community and the Sacramento market. So the club plays at the Davis Legacy Sports Complex, but considers Sacramento its heart. How important are the free soccer clinics and community outreach programs to the club's identity?
For me, it's a massive piece. I mean, for instance, like on Sunday, it's our once a month free soccer clinics for people with disabilities. And it's so important that people understand that soccer is for everybody. It doesn't just have to be for somebody of full ability. And whether it's mental or physical, whatever, this is a game that should be played by all. And so we are there to celebrate that. We do also clinics for underserved communities. And we do a program called Gear Up, where we identify over 100 kids that are, from underserved communities, and so they might not be able to afford sports equipment and whatnot. So like as much as like sports bras and cleats and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And these kids get to come in and they go on a shopping spree. They get all kinds of, like, we partner with Puma and several other great companies, and we have a great private sponsor for this as well, that these kids get a ton of stuff that's massively discounted from Puma. And we've heard incredible stories. Like one this last time, this mom was saying that she was so grateful for it because they come to the previous year and her son's in high school and he was hanging out with the wrong crowd. He wasn't doing well in school, not making great decisions. And he came to the Gear Up program and he got all kinds of gear, and it gave him the confidence to start playing. And he went out for his high school team. He made it. And then he started hanging around with kids that had goals and that were choosing healthy lifestyles, and his grades improved, and his mom was just like in tears, grateful for that. And it's that kind of stuff that is just, to me, I'm like, if we reach one person, it's worth it. That's, to me, that's what it's all about. So yeah, I'm forever. That was like one of the first things we started implementing was our community outreach, because you can reach so many people through the game. The game can just be the tool to connect with them on a more deeper level, more meaningful level. And so I'm really grateful for that.
Yes. Yeah, I used to play American traditional football, and it was the positive energy out there, and people that volunteered, and it was just such a positive atmosphere, and
Yes.
sense of team. It was just a wonderful feeling.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So if the storm could be summed up in one word or short motto beyond stay strong, remain resilient, and own that field, what would it be?
Oh goodness. I would say it's because of its history and what it is, and I would say legendary. It's really just, it's special. It's unique that it it's really kind of paved the way for a lot of people, even before me, in this game, and just, it's a community team. So I don't think I summed that up really well, but
No, it was good. No, it sounds
okay, yeah, I kind of
yeah,
bounced
no,
around, but yeah,
yes. So, okay, as someone who has seen the club as both a player and now the executive director and coach, what is one thing about the Storm culture that hasn't changed since the 90s? And I guess you would say is what you just said previously, but what haven't you seen change?
I would definitely say, the respect for each other and in the game. Everybody, comes in and they respect each other as athletes and as people and an excitement around the game. And it's probably one of the most competitive group of women you will ever come across, but they
Mhm.
are kind at the same time. It's the perfect balance in my opinion.
So, with the new changes in the rules that they have that are now in effect, how has the team adapted its tactical approach to officiating this season?
It's not too much. I mean, I think just, being aware of runs and things like that, like for offside. And so we haven't really changed too much. We're a very possession oriented team, a lot of creativity on the ball and things like that. And so, yeah, we haven't personally been affected, but, we definitely have to be aware of, our back line and watching, runners jump in the line. I think, like especially with offside, you're going to see so many more goals in the game that we haven't seen before, and I kind of think that that's going to continue. And I wonder if that's like a reason why they made the change.
Mhm.
Because I mean, you literally can be a striker and you can have your whole body past the defender, and you're running in that direction while the defender's got their back to goal. I mean, how many breakaways is that going to create? You know, so it's gonna, yeah, I think we're gonna see a lot more scoring. So just the back line mostly being aware of that and not jumping too early.
So as we look forward, or excuse me, as we look toward the launch of WPSL Pro, and they're going to be in 2028, where do you see the California Storm's place in the professional landscape?
And we definitely get asked that a lot because, we get told from, players that have come back maybe from overseas and whatnot that we run a really professional organization and this is the next step for it. And so definitely, we're in conversations of what would be good direction for the team. So, I can't say one way or another, but
Mhm.
we're always open to whatever the next step may be. And no matter what, we just want to do what's best for the organization and the players and community.
So I got one more question for you. What is one message that you'd like to send to the Storm Chasers and the Sacramento fans as you chase title number 6?
I would say, definitely come out to the game. We have some of the best players in the country, whether it's collegiately in between pro contracts and whatnot. It's it's definitely a very exciting soccer and bring your daughters out, bring your sons out. But after the game, I love it because a special key part of it is that we have all the players signing autographs, talking with the kids, and to have access to a player of that caliber is huge. Because I know when I was growing up, we never had access to elite players, and if you were watching players, it was always men's teams on TV and whatnot. Like the women, we were not didn't get any coverage. So it's important for the younger generations to come and see this. That hey, that could be me and seeing themselves in those players. And it's so exciting to hear of players, or kids coming up and saying, I'm going to be on the Storm someday. I'm going to play through you someday. And that's what we want. We want to show that there is a pathway in this game. So definitely, like I said, let's just keep rallying around these amazing women and it's a unique opportunity to see some of the best players play. So it's exciting. I love it.
Yeah, well, I had a great fan experience when we came, and you guys have themes. I think it was a Crazy Hat Day or something like that. There was
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, we were crazy that day.
Yeah. Now your next home game, is against Nevada FC on May 22nd. Is there any theme to that day that
Oh, that
fans
is a
should be
good
aware of?
question. That is
Otherwise,
a
I would have
great
brought my
question. I
crazy
need
hat.
to look.
I didn't
Yeah,
bring my crazy
it'll
hat.
be. Feel free to bring your crazy hat, but it will be a different theme. But I'll still enjoy seeing you in your crazy hat. We have a variety of themes coming out. I honestly haven't looked that far yet because we have a couple of away games first, and then we'll have that next home game. So I don't know. It might be like 90s theme or something like that, but don't quote me on it. But we'll
Now, will
post
you
it on our
post it?
website. So.
Okay, good. And
Yeah,
can you share your website?
yeah, the calstormsoccer.com, and then we'll also post it on our social media.
Okay, and you have a Facebook page and an Instagram page.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, and it's at California Storm Soccer or at California Storm for your Facebook page?
I believe that they're both at Cal Storm Soccer.
Okay, California Storm Soccer. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Jamie, I'm going to thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been great, talking with you, and I'm looking forward to your season. I think the next game I'm coming out to is May 29th. I'd love to come out to your next game on the 22nd. I'll try. I'll try my hardest. But I'm for sure coming out on the 29th, and I know you buy your tickets online, and I couldn't believe how inexpensive it is to see a great sport. It's $10 a ticket, and your season passes. Oh, my gosh. They're so affordable. I mean, anybody just support the Storm. Buy the season passes. Just to support the Storm and go whatever games you can go to. I mean, the price is a great price to go see a fantastic team.
Thank you. Yeah, some people tell us we need to raise the prices, and I'm like, you know what? I want it to be affordable to everybody. So
yes,
that's a big deal.
Yeah, you
for
fill those
us.
fans.
So.
Yes, yeah, and there's a nice little crowd that you had there. And
Wonderful.
Yes. Okay, Jamie. Well, I appreciate your time, and we'll talk soon.
Great. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Before I dive into my personal perspective segment, I'd like to read this for the listeners. WPSL Talk is an entirely independent media platform. While I am deeply passionate about covering WPSL Pro and showcasing its incredible athletes, teams, and news, this podcast is not officially affiliated with, endorsed by, or sponsored by the league or its front office. The views, opinions, and analysis expressed on this show are strictly my own. Cleveland did everything right. 16,000 ticket pledges, a downtown stadium blueprint, a community ready to explode, yet the NWSL looked right past Northeast Ohio. Why? Because the modern women's sports boom has turned expansion into an astronomical corporate gold rush. First, look at the price tag. The league's 16th spot went to Denver, backed by a staggering, record-shattering franchise fee north of $100 million. That essentially doubled the previous baseline, pricing out great mid-market bids before a ball even kicked. Then came the stadium friction. Cleveland's beautiful downtown venue plan relied on $90 million in public funding. While local organizers fought hard, that public-private package wasn't fully locked down in time for the league's strict deadline. Finally, corporate gravity pulled elsewhere. The NWSL ultimately favored Columbus for its Ohio footprint, handing a team to the billionaire Haslam Sports Group to piggyback off existing MLS infrastructure. Cleveland didn't lose because of a lack of passion. It got outbid by billionaire corporate plays. But here is the twist. That rejection forced a brilliant pivot. Now Cleveland Astra is taking that massive fan base straight to WPSL Pro, proving you don't need an NWSL invite to build a professional soccer legacy. In closing, I'd like to give a big thank you to Jamie Levoy of the California Storm for being our first team spotlight. If you have any questions, comments, or would like to be on the show, email BarbaraJ at WPSLTalk.com. Until then, stay strong, remain resilient, and own that field.